Hello, good evening, and welcome to News at 10. We're live from our news hub here at Disawe in Accra and streaming worldwide on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. I'm Stephen Enti. Let's first start with the major news highlights of the day. The police in Accra have arrested 26 Togolese nationals who were part of some 300 who were planning to stage an unlawful demonstration over the political situation in their country. The demonstrating Togolese who are resident in Ghana converged at the Kaokudi Park near Accra Girls Senior High School Saturday morning, clad in red and black, to protest against their country's leaders. For bloated and slightly rusted canned foods. According to the Ashanti Regional Head of the Authority, Nora Naki Telabi, bloated can is an indication of microorganisms' activities in the can. Residents of communities along the Kaswa Obom Amasamang Road live in fear as the newly constructed road has become their worst nightmare. Not a week passes without an accident on the road. That's according to the chief of Domiabra in Kaswa. 14 students of the Kumasi Technical University have been sacked, while 8 of the students were dismissed for presenting falsified West Africa Senior High School certificate examinations. The 6 others were dismissed for examination malpractices. An outgrower farmers with the Ayensu Starch Factory have expressed dissatisfaction with management over delays in payment for their produce. On the international front in Kenya, Kenyans who boycotted a repeat presidential election voiced relief on Saturday after authorities indefinitely delayed further attempts to hold the vote in some opposition areas due to the risk of violence. While the elections board's decision stemmed the prospect of more clashes, it also pushed to the fore a new question: can President Uhuru Kenyatta be declared winner of a vote in which ballots were not cast in more than 20 of Kenya's 290 constituencies? Those are our major news highlights. Remember, we're streaming live on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. Up next is a big one. Welcome back. Now, allowances for about 8,000 national service personnel across the country have been withheld, the National Service Secretariat has announced. It explained in a statement Saturday that the suspension of the payment of the September allowances was to allow for investigation into the affected personnel who are either suspected of impersonation or disqualified from doing national service. Meanwhile, the September allowances for some 58,000 other personnel have been paid after a month-long delay due to the process of authentication. Auditing of payment of vouchers for October 2017 allowances for personnel have been concluded, indicating payment will be done immediately. The biometric validation is also completed. The management of the scheme has meanwhile appealed to the general public to assist them by providing information to the security agencies on people who are impersonating national service. Right, in the studio with me, I have the president of the University Students Association of Ghana, USAG, Josephine Agyekum, joining us. How are you, sir? Thank you extremely
Fine,
for
thank you, sir.
your time.
But the name correctly spelled, Joseph Agyekum.
Joseph Agyekum, that's what I said.
Yes, that's the current president-elect of University Students Association of Ghana, USAG.
Okay, that's fine. So what are your concerns when it comes to the payment of the allowances to national service personnel?
Okay, first of all, I'll commend government from an initial increase from again 340 cedi to almost 559.84.
So this is not a concern, it's a commendation?
Yes, it's a commendation. But as to whether government have been able to, pay all the allowance of the university students across the country is something that we have to delve into. So as it stands now, government have been only to provide for almost 58,000 students, and right now we are left.
You mean national service?
Yeah,
personnel.
National service personnel. We are now left out with 8,000 to be sorted out. And this difference, I think, is really a very vast difference that government needs to do something in order to, crave the indulgence for students to be happy with the situation.
You do not understand the reason why this was done. We're told that the withholding of these allowances was due to a lot of reasons, including people who were not qualified to do national service. So an auditing has to be conducted on these 8,000. That's a valid thing to do.
Yes.
If we want to save this country from corruption.
Sure. Frankly, I agree government is doing and trying as much as possible to fight corruption in every angle, in every corner, from every tangent that you want to fight. But the whole thing must be looked at the welfare of students are very holistic, and then we must look at how best
you keep referring to students, but we're talking about national service personnel. Yes. In this case, right?
Sure. The reason that our association, our constitution, a student probably we give you 2 years life. Why? After you've even completed. That's the reason why I'm still using that context.
Yeah, that's fine.
But looking at it from that contextual point of view, I think government have to still come back to put smiles on the face of students and skim down that number from 8,000 if auditing is even done.
Wow. So
to,
are you so in effect, are you satisfied with the flow, monthly flow of allowances so far?
Yes, so far.
So your concern is not about the money coming and the flow.
Yes, so far
just that you don't want the 8,000 to be held back for too long.
Yes.
That is assuming the 8,000 are genuine national service persons.
Yes, that's only if the assumption is true. But we're also looking at a situation whereby after auditing, government can even come back to say, oh, let's say 4,000 is genuine. That's why we even have quite a tangible number that can still be sorted out. And then looking at government holding on for such a time up to now, I think it's somehow problematic. But so far as government have been able to pay us in time now, it's quite, sounding.
Okay, so let me hold you and quickly get onto the telephone lines and speak with the public relations officer of the National Service Scheme, Ambrose Ntiwa, who is joining us. Good evening, sir. We're grateful for your time. So we want a confirmation from you that some 8,000 personnel allowances due them have been suspended due to what a statement we've cited indicates investigations into an audit is conducted. An audit, I beg your pardon, is conducted into these allowances to determine whether they are genuine national service persons or not.
Yeah, that is correct. My brother, let me first of all once again correct some small impression. Let me put on record the government has already released money for the allowances through the scheme. Decisions taken at this level is by management, not the government. Let's not mix the two. As though government has decided not to pay allowances. That is not correct. Allowances have been released. The 2-month allowance for September and October have been released long ago. But we have to go through our processes, which I explained on your platform a week ago or so. So this is purely management decision now.
Right.
Further to that, this afternoon, I was with the executive director, Honorable Mustafa Yusuf, in the office for most part of the afternoon, going through some appointment letters of national service personnel. But I wish you were there. People who have been impersonated. Let's say somebody is called Kojo Amwa. His photograph is not on the form. The photograph on the form, let's say Ambrose Intwa, by using Kojo Amwa's name, and this has been well printed, and people have been able to secure these forms. I'm telling you on authority that we have arrested some people who have manipulated the system, who have used other people's names to register. They did this right from school. It was not through our system. Now, what would be the better option? To just keep quiet and pay everybody, or rather to do some meticulous work, do audit a proper one, and ensure that only the correct people or the right people or authorized persons are paid. Now, the 8,000, it is not just deliberate to starve people, as it were. No. My brother, the law says that for now, you do national service for only 1 year. So after 1 year, you don't do national service again. Our checks, we have picked up a lot of intelligence information. A lot of some people, I wouldn't say a lot, some people have managed to come on board national service who have already done national service last year, last 2 years. We have the data. So the only thing we are doing is to do biometric checks. This is what is bringing out all these things. And I can tell you from now, the statement that has been issued and signed by the executive director, 57 people have been arrested in Tamale. They are in the investigation. We suspect that we have similar numbers or even more in other areas. We need to thoroughly investigate some of these things. So why would people want us to rather keep quiet and pay, and later they will come back and accuse us of not doing due diligence and paying people with ghost names? Is that what they're expecting? No. We have to do what is right. We ask people to go and do biometric registration. My brother, some are deliberately refusing to do the biometric registration. Why? Because when they do that, the system will catch up with them. So they don't want to do it. Now, if you don't do it, we don't pay you. Simple. If you think you are genuine, go through the biometric registration, and then we will compare fingerprints. We will compare pictures. We will do a lot of audits.
Interesting revelations coming up from you there. But I want to understand, I'm a bit curious, this auditing you're telling us about only started in this new administration, or this is actually a key part of the processes the National Service Scheme go through in order to get people's allowances paid?
You would we introduced these kinds in 2015. We started paying through the eSwitch platform from January 2015 when we started this process. And for those who were doing national service at that time, they would remember that allowances delayed for about 2 months or more. And we did explain at the time that it was necessary for us to weed out all those, as it were, the negative parts. And later when it was done, so we got NASPA executives to support us very well at the head of it. They were part of the auditing of the appointment letters one by one, manually, to ensure that all these things were cleared before we paid them. And again, some people have gotten us wrong. We don't want to go through something we have gone through before, which gave us a very bad image. We don't want to do that. I'm saying that if we have had this kind of experience, that should serve as a yardstick for us to be able to move on. So as management, we have sat down and realized that these are possible things that could happen. And again, we have had some intelligence reports. So what do we do? Should we just sit down? No. We must take steps and ensure that we block all the loopholes and pay only those who are genuinely supposed to be paid.
So are there any timelines? Are there any timelines you can give us?
And they are clear, we pay them.
Are there any timelines you can give us? When are you likely to finish this auditing? So those who are genuinely captured in this 8,000 of yours, perhaps, can get there.
We are still waiting for those who have not done the biometric registration. So most of them are people who have not done the biometric registration. We can't pay them when we have not biometrically verified them, authenticated them. So when they get, and we have asked them to do that, we have given them. Since last week, we asked them to register. If you have gone to register, so they will go through the process. The system is automatic. Once you go through the process and you have done service already, it will pop up. It will show simple. And we'll just delete the name.
Right,
let everybody be patient, and those who have not done so should go through. And as we indicated in the statement, we have almost concluded with October allowance. we are doing the validation. Once we finish, we will pay them. And if for as long as people have not gone to do the biometric, we will continue to pay those who have genuinely cleared, and will continue.
Right. We're grateful, sir. Thank you extremely for your time. Ambrose Nchua is a Public Relations Officer of the National Service Secretariat, National Service Scheme. So you heard him. So there's 8,000 is just about people who are refusing to do biometric validation of themselves. That's straightforward, isn't it?
Yes.
So there should be no problem.
Yeah, but I quite agree with him in the sense that even though there may exist some discrepancies here and there that they have to address within the system, so many distortions within the system.
It has to be done very quickly.
Yes,
but you heard him say that this is not them who are slowing things down, but those personnel who are refusing to take the biometric validation. They are to be blamed. So you can't blame the National Service Scheme for this.
Yes. So actually, we are not blaming government for a very large percentage.
But you think they should hurry up and get people paid?
Yeah, we are trying
quickly
to see how the very strategic be on time.
Right.
Because the average university student now have this as a pace where he or she is going to earn a living assured to just set up or start up life in his or her, living world. But what we are trying to do now is, for university students, we also look at how government can come out and then increase as with time, it's respond to time.
Right, Joseph, we're grateful for your time.
The allowance to a certain amount again because of the standard of living and the economic situations that are upon the country.
Right, Joseph.
And then I would say,
but you just mentioned that you commend government for the increase. So there's no
sure, but university students are agitating further that government should still increase because of the economic conditions. And I know, being elected today and being sworn into office as the user president, I'll fight more harder for the average university student. And Joseph, the reason why we apologize to all university students or the average Ghanaian student is that our unions have been tribalized for a very long time. So we want
Joseph, we'll have a platform for you to raise these concerns with students of the university. Today, we wanted to focus on national service persons. Thank you very much,
I hope there will be no
Joseph.
distortions and discrimination in this election. I've won the election. The average university students will allow me to function. And all university students will protest if anything goes against my victory.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your time. Joseph Ejekum is the newly elected president of the University Students Association of Ghana. You heard him there. He's passionate about what he's here to do. My name is Stephen Anti. We have more news for you. Please don't go away. Right, so you may have been following the sad incident of the 4-year-old girl who was defiled. Now, earlier today, the MP for Asin South, along with some women in the media organization, our own Mercy Catherine Ejabing, went to visit the girl. And the update is that she's now able to walk. As you can see in the visuals there, she's able to take a few steps, and we're told that her condition is stabilizing as she is able to walk. And investigations are still ongoing to determine exactly what happened to her. So the latest on this is that the 4-year-old girl who was defiled has been visited by the Asin South MP, Honorable Intim Fojo, along with some women in the media, including our own Mercy Catherine Ejabing, visited the girl whose condition, we're told, has stabilized and is able to take a few steps, as you can see in the visuals we're showing there. This is still News at 10. We're live on TV3. We're also streaming live on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. To other stories, the police in Accra have arrested 26 Togolese nationals who were part of some 300 who were planning to stage an unlawful demonstration over the political situation in their country. The demonstrating Togolese who are resident in Ghana converged at the Kaukudi Park near Accra Girls Senior High School Saturday morning, clad in red and black, to protest against their country's leader. However, the police in Accra insist the protesters breached the Public Order Act by not informing the police. Hence, The police acted swiftly by arresting the leaders of the group so as to avert any further troubles. Since the first protest on August 18, 8 people have been killed in Togo, including a 10-year-old child, 3 teenagers and 2 soldiers, while there being a series of injuries. About 100 people have been injured. And nursing mothers of the St. Theresa's Hospital at Nkranza in the Bunahafo region sleep on the bare floor with their newborn babies due to labor ward congestion. Records indicate St. Theresa's Hospital in September this year alone recorded 131 deliveries, representing an average of 5 deliveries daily. Our reporter Johnson Tichy filed this report.
Deliveries at the St. Theresa's Hospital has soared. In September alone, a total of 131 deliveries, representing an average of 5 deliveries daily, were recorded. The congestion has forced many of the women in labor to sleep on the corridors. They lie on the bare floor, awaiting the arrival of their children. The senior midwife in charge of the St. Theresa's Hospital is Cynthia Osei-Boachi.
The place is too small for us. You see, every patient has to get a bed, but due to that shortage, they are all lying on the floor. You have to kneel down and see before you can listen to their fetal hearts. Even if the infusion is also finished, you have to also kneel down before you can help them to change infusion and the rest. In fact, we are suffering.
Another worrying situation at the labor ward is that the hospital has no single incubator. This has compelled them to use an improvised radiant warmer light to ensure the babies are being provided with some amount of heat. Cynthia Osei-Boachi says many of their newly born babies who deserved longer protection in the incubators are referred to Techiman Holy Family Hospital to ensure their safety. Senior nursing officers have to share a small table in an enclosed office to their labor ward to file their records. Currently, the government owes the hospital 8 months of NHIS arrears. The human resource manager of the hospital, Cosmos Yeboah, expressed worry as the hospital is constrained to buy drugs.
Regular payments of claims by the NHIS to the hospital. As I speak with now, we have received up to August for last year, and then January to March 2017. The rest we have not received it.
The municipal chief executive of the Nkranza Assembly, Dinah Atta Kusiwa, says government would soon address their challenges.
I have to sit down with my MP and then the management of the assembly and then to discuss it. Then we can also make a request to the ministries so that they can help us to put up a maternity ward.
And the Food and Drugs Authority has warned the public to be on the lookout for bloated and slightly rusted canned foods on the market. According to the Ashanti regional head of the authority, Nora Naki Telabi, a bloated can is an indication of microorganism activities in the can. Here's a report by Benjamin Adu.
This came to light when the officials from the Food and Drugs Authority in Kumasi intensified their drive towards ensuring food safety through education of the people on proper handling of foods. As part of this, the authority organized a Durbar for market women, traders and food vendors at the Asafo market in Kumasi. They also embarked on a massive cleanup exercise, clearing choke gutters, street and other parts of the Asafo market in Kumasi. The Ashanti regional head of the Food and Drugs Authority, Nora Naki Telabi, pointed out that it was vital to avoid unsafe handling of food to prevent contamination and food poisoning. She touched on the need to ensure food hygiene at all levels of food processing, from purchasing, preparation, storage to when it will be consumed.
We are educating the market women that if you are having vegetable, how to handle your vegetable. Don't put your vegetable on the bare floor. If the vegetable is spoiled, if it's rotten, dispose of that and sell the good one. And in that vein, we are telling you, the consumer, that you have your money. If you are out there to buy anything, make sure you buy what is good. Don't buy the bad produce because they are cheap.
She called for keeping of clean environment to drive away rodents, insects and pests who could render food toxic. She discouraged consumers from eating canned foods which were dented, rusted and without expiry dates.
Education comes before enforcement. That is, now you have given the public and the seller the information. So from here, when we come to the market and we see a practice that is not safe, we will ensure that the right thing is done.
And that's how we wrap up with News at 10. I'm Stephen Ente. Thank you extremely for making time. There's more news at 3news.com. On behalf of the crew here, good night.